Hello, welcome to Spotlight, focusing on the vast array of the island's wonderful creative talent.
Spotlight, brought to you by the Isle of Man Arts Council.
This evening, as May approaches, we get the lowdown on this year's fiery Oie Voaldyn Festival in Peel, bigger and better than ever it seems. More words of wisdom for those wishing to break into the music industry from Arts Council Graduate Intern Callum Rowe. And adjudicating plays, we hear from the adjudicator at this year's Easter Festival of Plays, Robert Meadows. But do get in touch with any creative artistic endeavours you might be involved in, planning, hoping to create, or would really like to put in that spotlight. Poetic, theatrical, plenty of that tonight, musical, bit of that too, literary, ceramic, sculpture, drag, film, mime, social media, all the rest. Drop me a line, howardkane@manxradio.com, Kane with an E, or spotlight@manxradio.com. They come to the same place, I read them all. If I hear from you, I'll get in contact and we can get you on the air to feature whatever you might be doing, any in that list or not in that list. If you think it's arty, give me a shout, love to hear from you. Without further ado, May, nearly upon us, heralds the coming of the summer and hopefully, warmer days. It also heralds, of course, the start of some of the major outdoor events and spectacles which take place on the Isle of Man, and I don't just mean the TT. The brilliantly eclectic, cultural, spiritual, musical and fiery epic festival and outdoor event which is Oie Voaldyn takes place on the 4th of May. To find out more, I spoke to organiser Kathy Clucas, Claire Pearce from sponsors Element Isle, and first, producer John Shakespeare.
We think that the name Oie Voaldyn has sort of got into the Manx culture because my wife went to an RNLI fundraising quiz and one of the questions was, what is Oie Voaldyn? So I thought, do you know what, we've arrived. And of course it means May Eve. And it started in 2018 in the Year of Culture. So I'm quite used to doing big events in Peel, particularly the Viking festivals, where people remember those. And Year of Culture said, you know, what can you do for us on the beach? So we started it 2018. It was an amazing evening. The smoke from the fires went straight up. That's probably never going to ever happen again on the island.
Never again.
But we just, everyone at the end of the night said, what was that all about? It's so fantastic. So as you know, this will be our 4th time we've done this because we've done an Hauna as well. So we need to work on that one. But Oie Voaldyn, Manx Gaelic for May Eve. Celebrating May Day, basically, the end of winter, hooray!
Hooray.
And the beginning of summer, which we've seemed to have had summer.
That'll be it.
So we've got it back on track, and we're very fortunate to have with us today Claire from Element Isle, who are our main sponsors, and without them this wouldn't have happened. So, you know, we had a bit of a rocky road last year, bit of an issue with sponsors, but they saw that message, came out and supported us. But the Norns are aligned, if you like. The Manannan has put us all together, and the festival is growing exponentially now with lots of different components, and it's really good. So it's going to be on 4th of May.
Yep.
Sunday. We always do it on a Sunday. It's the bank holiday, remember, so you can party in the evening and then have the day off. It's also a bit of a resilience day for us, the Monday, and it starts mainly all around, we know it's Spit Corner, Weatherglass Corner, where the bridge goes across Peel Harbour. So it's on Peel Shore. We're not allowed to say beach. It's on Peel Shore, and it starts at 2 p.m. and goes on right the way through the day to the main fire show. Starts at 9 p.m. and finishes. I'm just finalising the scripts and the choreography, but got quite a few new elements this year, and we think it will finish probably about 7 minutes past 10 with a fireworks show.
Loving it already. You mentioned elements. Now we'll come back to the sort of the programme in a moment, but you mentioned Element Isle, and Claire is with us. So just tell us about your involvement. What drew you to Oie Voaldyn?
Well, I think both my husband and I were both from the island, but we'd spent a number of years away, and then when we came back, within a couple of years, we attended our first Oie Voaldyn, and I have to say, it just, I don't know, it spoke to us both and to our souls, and it told us about what it felt so special to be Manx. And I don't know, it was such a, it just meant a huge amount to us, especially after being away for so long. It like reconnected us back to the island. And when we heard that obviously they had trouble getting the event going forward last year, Scott and I just felt like it was a natural thing that we wanted to protect the event. We wanted to be part of it and make sure that it was something that future generations could enjoy. So yeah, that kind of opened the door for us to get in contact with John. And as I say, the rest is history.
And a natural link between the sort of celebration of the Isle of Man and the summer and winter and the inspiration for the jewellery and such like?
Yes, it is. I mean, everything we do at Element Isle is inspired by the island, and you can't help but be inspired by the island. No matter where you look, for us, especially over the last couple of years, we've been developing a lot with folklore and Manx history. So then the connection seemed even stronger. And the alignment just seemed to be there. It just seemed a natural fit.
A perfect link. Kathy, you're involved. Well, are you hands-on? Are you planning? Or are you actually involved in the nitty-gritty, as they say?
Bit of everything. Bit of everything. Well, I got up initially, I think it was it 2017 or 2008?
Yeah, we started in 2017.
Yeah, I was approached by John. My name was put forward by someone in Culture Van, and because quite a number of years ago, I did a master's dissertation on Oie Voaldyn and all the traditions, the Manx traditions. And why I picked that as my dissertation originally was I was curious to find out why there's a Hoptune and Haunas and massive on the island, but why wasn't Oie Voaldyn? What was going on? So I wanted to find out more. So that's what I wrote about, and then also a lot of the traditions. So I'm a little bit of, I suppose I'm an Anorak expert, but not just about Oie Voaldyn, but yeah.
It was great food for thought, wasn't it, when you found all that reference to Waldron?
Oh yeah, well, it's been there a long time. It's there's a lot of recycled information about and how it all links in, and how it's very similar to the traditions in Ireland and Scotland and Wales, and actually further afield there's threads that go through.
Commonality between.
There is, yeah.
You gave us the dates and the times to a degree, John, and outline what's going to happen. I know there's some very exciting new elements coming in. One is the Oie Voaldyn Veg, so this is what trying to encourage and bring more youth in.
Yes. So in the last time we did it, we had such a large crowd when we did the monkey survey, and actually we've got support from Domestic Event Fund as well. So our main review of the festival will be this monkey survey, so which we want people to fill in. But everyone said it was an amazing event, but sometimes they couldn't hear it or couldn't see it. So many people. So we thought, well, what can we do? And also, remember, the fire show needs to be at 9, so it's dark, so that we can see the element of fire. So we thought, okay, what can we do for kids? And we started planning, and we're going to maybe do a bit more work on this, but we thought, wouldn't it be great to do a mini Oie Voaldyn where the kids dress up as the Winter Champion, the Summer Queen, the FIAC, the Ravens, and all this sort of stuff. So we decided to do a mini Oie Voaldyn. So if parents don't want the kids to stay up late but want them to get involved and dress up, so that's new for this year, and it's going to start at 4 p.m. So the kids need to be assembled on Fenella Beach and the ramp. So I think the tide might be just about okay, and in Fenella, so not in the car park but down on the beach. Yeah. And they can pick summer or winter, and all our main characters will be there to lead those parades. So if there's like a mini Summer Queen, they can hold hands with the real Summer Queen, if you know what I mean, like a mini me. And the more they do will be out, and all our characters will be out as well. And we've got this, one of the big new elements this year, we've got a company called Bring the Fire from Liverpool, and they're coming over to do the main fire show. These are fire spinners, and they're the main fire show that work for Liverpool Council, Year of Culture and all that sort of stuff. So we've got this incredible collaboration. We were quite lucky, actually, because I think it's about to break in the news. Did you see there was a memorandum of agreement between the Isle of Man and Liverpool? We're probably the first collaboration to hit that. So and actually, I think I mentioned about new components starting with the festival that's grown. We've got a new group called Skimmy Isle, which means fire team, and they're being trained by Bring the Fire Project and ensuring them this year. but we've got 16 new fire spinners.
Wow.
And they were out on Sunday night on Peel Beach learning. I always say pole, but I think they call it staff. I'm a pole dancer. I know, actually, I've trained as a staff dancer, but they're doing fire. Anyway, those people will be leading the parade not with fire, because we're going to save that for later, but with like poi and stuff, ribbon poi. So it's going to be a lovely little spectacle. So we want people to sign up, and we're going to judge them, and we've got prizes for. So some of someone came with a good idea to do a pram or a buggy, dress it up as like a black dog or something. So there's prizes for best 5 and under, best 8 and under, best 11 for winter, and then the same for summer. So it's a lovely bit of fun. And of course, if they want to then stay later, they can be part of the parade.
Can I just break in there? I was going to say on our website, the Oie Voaldyn website, there's actually if any parents out there and think, oh, what will I use? If you actually click on the Oie Voaldyn Veg link, there's lots of inspiration for costumes there, so it might get you started. So to start getting your costumes made now, and it's a very simple concept: summer or winter, and that's it.
That's very sweet.
And Elemental are going to be they're judging, they're sponsoring this, and they're judging it.
No
pressure.
Yeah. So that's great, and that's a new element. And as I say, once they're dressed up, if they want to stay for tea and they can make it to the 9 o'clock show, they can obviously be in the public parades as well.
Brilliant. So we've got the fire, we've got the movement, we've got the dance, plenty of good music, of course, throughout the day.
Yeah, that's been one of the things that's kind of lovely for the festival, is Culture Vannin are sponsoring the stage. So we're having a stage on Spit Corner, or Weatherglass Corner, and we've got Bisky Brish, we've got Thai Viper, we've got Sken Jarg, obviously, at the 4 o'clock slot. We've got Dusty Plankton, Mollag Band, and I think we're finishing off with Foxtrap. So a great lineup. And in between, if there's not sound checking, some of our groups like Voice of the Fire will be singing a few songs and playing a bit of and dancing on the corner. So that's fantastic as well.
It's going to be a great spectacle as ever, with something for everyone, I think we can guarantee. I do rather like the spiritual connections amidst all the noise and colour and pageant. It gives it a nice balance, doesn't it? We'll hear more about the festival next week.
Spotlight, brought to you by the Isle of Man Arts Council.
The long Easter weekend has just passed, but the Easter Festival of Plays continues through this week until the end of the week. Whilst it's all about the plays, it is of course a festival, so the plays are in competition and being adjudicated. The man with the task of adjudication this year is festival adjudicator Robert Meadows. No stranger to Manx shores he, I have to say. I caught up with him at the halfway stage of the festival to see how things were going, and first, though, I asked Sharon Walker, chair of the Manx Amateur Drama Federation who put on the festival, how she felt this year had been going.
I think it would be very easy to say that it's been going tremendously well. We are on the Tuesday of the festival now. We've already had our one-act play festival finish with the wonderful winner in Shelter by Goodbye Piccadilly Productions. In terms of audiences, it's going better than I could imagine. We've been really, really well supported this year, and our audience figures are probably, certainly the highest I've known in my tenure as chair of the Federation. So I am absolutely delighted, given this is our 75th year.
It's very good. So numbers are good, a good smattering of plays again, and lots of different. That's the main thing, isn't it? Getting, I suppose, a good variety of different plays for people to come and enjoy it.
Absolutely. 13 plays in a week. So there's absolutely loads for people to enjoy, and a great opportunity for so many different companies to come and be involved in our festival as well.
And the main thing is enjoyment, and for people to get out there, get on stage and enjoy it, for audiences to come and see it. But it falls to you, Rob. I suppose this is a festival, so there's an element of competition about it. It's
you feel the weight of responsibility when you go to these things, or is it more a case of really getting out there and enjoying it?
I think it's there is a responsibility. Of course there is, because you are aware of how much has been put into creating these events throughout the landscape of amateur drama, and particularly, of course, on the Isle of Man, where the Easter Festival is so rooted in the traditions of the island. So you have a responsibility to do the job as well as you can do, but also it's a really enjoyable festival. I think the first time I came over was way back in 2006, and certain things have never changed. The friendliness of the welcome, the super turbocharged organisation that makes this a great festival, and as you said yourself, that range of, and as Sharon said, that range of drama that's presented to a visiting loyal audience that comes year after year, and it is a privilege, but it is great fun too.
What has changed, of course, is the venue for the one acts, which traditionally have been held down in the south of the island, down at the Air and Arts Centre, and I think at King William's for a year tour as well. Now at the Gaiety, so in the big proscenium arch, a much bigger setting for the one act plays and for perhaps smaller groups. Is that very difficult? Do you think that gives an extra challenge for the groups, or something you have to consider from an adjudicator's point of view?
Well, it takes me back to something that was said just last night, where one of the directors of a play looked at the Gaiety Theatre and said, "This is awesome." And there's two meanings of that word. Awesome in terms of a really impressive venue to put on drama, and of course it is, we know that. That's such a splendid space. But also awesome in terms of a bit intimidating. And particularly if, say, you have a two-hander, you need to think about how you're going to use that space and make a connection with the audience when you're not as close to them as you might be in, say, the Port Erin or other studio spaces. So yes, there's something about how you position yourself, how you interact, how you design for it. So there is an interesting set of challenges that particularly the one-act plays have to meet.
And I know one of the one-act plays was actually about an adjudicator. I thought this is going to be interesting. We watch a play about an adjudicator adjudicating a play, and then you have to come on and adjudicate it.
It's not the first time I've seen that play and had to follow it, really. It was done particularly well. The actor, Jack Verity, who was playing the part of the adjudicator, really understood how to satirise the whole process. I didn't feel the knife was being twisted into my back. It was an entertaining moment of theatre, and he was making clear, as does the writer David Christum, all the some of the cliches that adjudicators come out with.
And I know we've touched on this before when we've spoken to you when you've been adjudicating the plays, but again, for those who sort of don't know, might think, how do you adjudicate a play? Can you just give us a little précis? Because on the one hand, you must have some things that maybe you prefer personally to other plays. I assume that's something you have to sort of park to one side to a degree, and then you have a sort of set sort of marking scheme as well. Can you just explain a little bit about that for those who really don't perhaps understand the mechanism of how you adjudicate a play festival?
Yeah, if you're thinking about what marks you give it, for instance, first of all, you are marking the production, not the play. It doesn't matter whether I like a particular play better than another one in terms of a piece of writing. It's how it's performed, so that creates a kind of level playing field for the competition. And then when I'm looking at it, I'm taking into account the stage presentation elements, the costumes, the design concept and how it's constructed, the ways in which properties might be used, the lighting and sound technique. So there's that to be to be considered. Then the direction, the acting, obviously, and then a final mark, which is for dramatic achievement, kind of how it all hangs together. And that's quite a significant part of the marking system, because it's how that play really communicates itself to the audience.
We're just into, as Sharon said at the beginning there, we've had the one-act festival is complete now. We're now into the Easter Festival of full-length plays. Do you need a sort of a separate mindset for the full-length plays, or is it continuous in your mind?
No, I think it's continuous. I mean, there are so many these days plays that are on the professional theatre that are not much longer than a one-act play. 70 minutes is quite common now into West End studio theatre productions. So it's the same approach taken. all plays are assessed on the same way.
And then I suppose, again, travelling round on the circuit, do you see are there regional differences or regional similarities depending on where you're adjudicating as you go around?
I think there's certain common features, and one of those features is the fact that I think somebody's done some research on it. 43% of amateur productions are new writing, which is quite a stunning statistic for me. I picked that up quite recently, and certainly throughout the different parts of the certain regions, new writing is given its first airing in amateur drama festivals. There are certain differences, I think, but there's still that same balance of those groups that wish to put forward a comedy and others who are finding something which is more challenging, more searing, more complicated, which leaves sometimes the audience scratching its head.
Its collective head. And just finally, I know, after the adjudication, a lot of people go for a drink afterwards, and you'll offer private adjudications, perhaps go and see groups, chat to members and directors individually. Do you ever get any heated debates with that, or are people always very, after the event, happy to hear and discuss things? Or do you ever have anyone saying, no, have you ever had any heated debates, shall we say?
On occasions, but there's always some sort of safety net there. There's usually somebody from the committee looking out for me, making sure that I'm not abducted and beaten up in an alleyway. But no, on the whole, I think the groups all want to sort of pick up some sort of ideas about how they could have done it differently, what worked well, which is a very significant part of the adjudication process, and some even better ifs to take things forward. But what is interesting, it's sometimes the sternest critics are not the adjudicators, but members of the audience. They will sometimes come up to me and say, well, the voice projection wasn't what it should have been in that particular play, was it, Robert? Or, are you sure about that costume concept? Was it really in period? So they can be quite tough.
Always the sternest critic, the audience, I think. Best of luck for the rest of the week. Sharon, going forward, it is a celebratory year, of course, for MADF, and again, we're hopefully looking forward to more festivals. And we'll just mention, of course, before the end of the year, you'll be going straight on to Midsummer Night's Dream. We
will. And we've also got other events planned. We have a train trip in August. We have a celebratory dinner in October. But yes, our next performance on stage will be Midsummer Night's Dream. We're now cast, blown away by the people who came to audition, just about to start rehearsals at the beginning of May. And yeah, that'll be our next thing.
It's not too late to get along and enjoy the full-length plays. They run until Friday. So this evening, Wednesday, 23rd, 7:30pm, Keyhole Theatre present O'Brien's Dream by Bill Morrison. Tomorrow, the 24th, 7:30 again, curtain up, Full Circle Theatre Company with their production Hansard by Simon Woods. And on Friday, the 25th, 7:30 again, of course, Garden Suburb Theatre, Holding the Man by Tommy Murphy. Do go along and support them if you can. Finally, this evening, we heard from the Isle of Man Arts Council Graduate Intern Callum Rowe last week about his wonderful project Music Pathways, a series of workshops and talks aimed at those who might be hoping to make it as a professional musician, trying to highlight the skill sets you might need and suggest shortcuts on how you can do these things. I suggested to Callum that musicians today can't afford just to be great musicians and players, but need to have a broad skill set, including use of social media, maybe video, education, production and marketing.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's all really essential stuff. I think the more you can do, I think it was the head of my course described it to me as a modern music career is like the faders on a mixing desk. So you won't have necessarily one fader and that'll be your primary source of income. If, for example, you're a session musician, that's going to be one channel. You're a teacher, that's the second one. You are an original artist, that's the third. You can be anything else on top of this. You can work in sound and lights, stuff like that, or anything. These are all different faders that at points of your career, some are going to be higher than others. If you're booked on, say, a 3-month tour as a session musician, what happens after those 3 months are done? You're going to have to kind of subsidise that with something else. So I think just viewing music in this way and kind of trying to maximise your skills in every side of things is going to be very valuable.
And then session 5 is on the
12th of May, again at the Kensington Arts Centre, with Chris Larkham. Tell us about Chris.
So Chris, I was at university with Chris. He was in my year, and I lived with him for a year as well. But his band, OMA, at the moment, they're a hip-hop band, and they blew up massively on TikTok and Instagram from kind of short form real content. So this session is going to be really picking Chris's brain about social media and how he's blown up, because this has led to opportunities like them touring in Japan, the United States. They've been working quite closely, touring with a manager for US hip-hop label Top Dog Entertainment. And if you've seen any of like Kendrick Lamar, he was signed with them for 15 years. Doechii is a recent success for Top Dog. So they're working very closely with these people, and they've also been playing in Bruno Mars's club in the Bellagio Hotel in Las Vegas. All from consistent kind of, okay, we need to hit social media hard. So it shows it's possible, it's doable. I can't wait to have a chat with Chris about how he's actually doing this.
Well, I think this is a great idea, and like you say, it's just getting a little hint of it there from you. It is so complex now. You need such a broad range of these skill sets in order to make it in the modern music world. So I think it sounds like anyone's got an interest in music or hoping perhaps to make it in the music world, these sound like required listening, I would have thought. How do they go along if people are interested, want to get there?
So tickets are completely free to reserve, which I wanted to do for the community, really. You can reserve them via kensingtonarts.im, or if you go to the Arts Council's website, iomarts.com, you can find in our news section the news article about new Arts Graduate Intern projects. So you can follow the links there for the direct tickets.
Marvellous. And yourself, have you got your own platform if people want to find out what you're up to musically?
Oh, if you want to find out what I'm up to, it's at Callum Rowe Music on Instagram. That's where I post a lot of my gigs. I'm hoping to do some more gig promotion this year, bringing over some UK bands to do some smaller capacity venues, and I'm going to be pushing my own original music as well.
As Callum says, this is all free. What can you lose? And why not check out Callum's music whilst you're at it? That's about it for now. Check out the podcast if you want to hear anything again, and if you don't, well, I'll see you next week. And whatever you're doing in the meantime, be creative about it. Hey Moo!